Greetings and welcome to Fresh Fire International Ministries Wisdom Wednesday video. This week's title is Your Next Move Comes Out of What You Still Have. Your next move is going to come out of what you still have. I'm Pastor Janice Fareed Hardy. Perhaps like me, you have seen people who sink so low into the valley of what they've lost that they can't see that there's an horizon in front of them. In reality, in truth, losses really are rough. They're rough. In the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 11, as God speaks through the prophet John to so many of the churches there, he told the faithful church, the church at Philadelphia, that yes, you have many losses, yet God's instruction to them was to hold on to what you have. Even if they thought they had nothing, he says, hold on to what you have. And haven't we all suffered many losses? Haven't we all wished some things had turned out differently or some lives that turned out differently? But God tells those faithful people, those faithful church members in Revelation 3 in Philadelphia, the church of Philadelphia, to not lose sight, of what they do have, to not lose sight of what they still have. In fact, God tells them that although it may be hard, you're in sorrow, you're in grief, all of this, God told them, you must know that your greatest victory is still guaranteed and it is in your future. In other words, you ain't seen nothing yet. These are God's words. And let me read it. Revelation 3:11. Behold, which means see and be assured. Behold, that I am coming quickly. Hold fast to what you have, so that no one may take your crown. Now, the word hold, as it is used here, it means that you still have power. You're holding on, but you have power. You are still powerful, even in your present condition. Even in your present condition of loss, you are still powerful. That word hold doesn't mean just hold on to something. It means to know that what you have in your hands is powerful. No matter what, God never leaves us with no strength, with no hope, with no possession of something. So hold on and see what you still have. That includes your mind, your faith, your strength, and even your joy, even joy in the midst of it. Joy that surpasseth all understanding. And yes, our losses of whatever kind, they hurt and they affect us, and we will never forget them. But yet, that was not the end of the story for that church in Philadelphia, and it is not the end of our story either. Your next move, and there is a next move. God, in fact, never leaves us without a next move. Your next move is trying to get your attention. It's flashing lights, it's sounding sirens, And your next move is going to be revealed inside of what you already have. Think of Moses and the rod, Your next move, believe it or not, it doesn't make any sense, but your next move is already contained in what you already have. Let me tell you something. Everything in creation, the way God created it, everything is in motion, is vibrating, whether we see it or not. Every cell is just vibrating. Every micro part of the cell is vibrating. There's always a next move. There's always a motion in everything in creation. Animal life, plant life, the stars, the moon, the sun, you name it, quasars. There's always a next move. There's always a motion, Every time you think you are going down for the count, God has a next move for you. And I'm not just blowing smoke, Everyone is not going to make it all the way with you. Everything is not going to make it all the way with you. Every dream and every desire that you have is not going to make it all the way with you. but each relationship in your life is in motion or vibrating some type of way, in some type of direction, including your relationship with God. Every mission, okay, every goal is in motion. Every thought, okay, every thought we have is in motion or is vibrating in some kind of a way. Therefore, some relationships, directions, and thoughts will either move bigger in our life over time or they will move smaller in our life over time. And some of them may move completely away from us as others motion their way in. I mean, just think of the friends, okay? Think of the friends that you had when you were a child. Even if you still interact with them, there has been a motion in some kind of way, okay, with those friends. It is not the same childhood relationship that you had when you were a child. In fact, Paul even told us this in 1 Corinthians 13:11. And you know this famous verse. Paul said, when I was a child, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. I moved, I motioned, I vibrated away from childish things. Paul was telling us that there's always constant motion. And as God keeps us in motion, He keeps opening the door for our next move. From one move to the next move to the next move, as we fulfill God's purpose in our lives. Paul did not say that he stopped being Paul when he stopped being a child. No. His next move into adolescence, and his next move into being a man, and his next move into being a mature man of God, it all came out of what had been in that previous phase of his life, okay? All right. It is a continuum, but it is a continuum that is in motion. For example, okay, look at this. And you know this, okay? Paul was a military man who was against Jesus. I mean, totally against Jesus, trying to get those believers crucified, killed, or tortured before God stopped him and brought him into Jesus's kingdom. So when God recruited Paul was out of a job, okay? The military had no more use for him, the Israeli military. In fact, they would have killed him if they could have, okay? He was out of a job, he was unemployed, and his life was in danger. You can be as spiritual as you want to be. But Paul became unemployed without unemployment benefits when he joined Jesus's team. But some things about that unemployed Paul still held. Paul could still hold on to. There was still power in Paul, all right? He had that, for one thing. He had many things, but for one thing, he had that military knowledge of how to lead people, okay? How to lead people and how to organize massive military campaigns, just as he did when he was working for let's say the other military, okay? He knew all of this of how to organize, how to bring people together, how to move people, and how to move around, okay? And make things happen in order to promote an idea. Okay? He still had that. And so, is it any wonder that God used Paul to spread the gospel across multiple countries and to set up a leadership network over them all? Paul kind of brought this in from his previous life, okay? And God used it. He already had it. Okay? All right? His next move from being an enemy of Jesus Christ to being the greatest organizer of Jesus's gospel outside of Israel, it was a proven skill that Paul already had. His next move was already rising up out of what he already had. And as I said, what he was already holding on to. And as I said, holding, it means there is power in you. It's not just a matter of holding on to a trait, a skill, a possession, whatever. It means there is power. Okay? When God tells you to hold on, he's telling you there's power in your hand already, power in what you have already. Okay? So, the unemployed Paul, his next move, forgive me, y'all, but his next move came out of what he already had. That's likewise for you. Your next move will come out of what is already in your possession, what you already have, whether you realize it or not. It will come from the power that you already have, even if you don't call it power. But as with Paul, it is up to you. It is on you. It is on me, okay, to take what we already have and learn more about it and develop it more, all to God's glory, okay? All to God's glory. Why? Because again, God set it up so that everything in creation must stay in motion. Otherwise, it's going to die. And if it dies in us, it can cause disease of some type or another in us. One last story. There was a woman, whose husband died and left her and a little son, left them with nothing, nothing. And there were no jobs that she could go and apply for and work for. And to make matters even worse, then a famine hits the whole area. Many countries were suffering from a famine, so she couldn't even leave and go find, perhaps a better place someplace. Everybody around her, all the countries around her, were in a famine. Now, according to 1 Kings chapter 17, when Elijah had the nerve to show up at her door, unknown, uninvited, unannounced, asking for water and bread, the woman told that prophet, she told Elijah that she only had enough to make one last little piece of bread for her and her son, which they were going to eat. And then they were just going to, die because there was nothing else, okay? Sorrow, lack, homelessness, and nobody was coming to help her because everybody was in the same situation, okay? Same sad situation. But God stepped in, okay? He stepped into her valley of sorrows and he showed her that her next move was in the little that she had. And God magnified that last little, that was already in her hand, that little piece of of flour, a little oil. It was already in her hand, And God magnified it, and that little that she already had, it helped her to live miraculously past the famine. She outlived the famine, she and her son. It is really the same for you. Your next move is ready and is waiting for you to accept it. It is a gift from God, and it is rising up from what you still have, all right? From what you can still hold, okay? That's where your next move is coming from. God does not need to create a whole new heaven and earth for you. Your next move is already there, okay? So, I repeat to you, Revelation 3. Hold fast to what you already have so that no one may take your God-given crown. You have it. You have it. Thank you for joining us. And we pray that this little short message blessed you and will encourage you. And if it did, share it with somebody. Share it with someone. And we hope you'll come back next Wednesday for our Wisdom Wednesday video. And we'd love to hear from you. And the best way to reach us is through our website, That's at www.ffiministries.com. You can also write comments to us in the comment section beneath this video. We really would love to hear from you. So God bless you.